On April 18, 2006, I was there.
2006 was the best season in the long Moneyball era that was ran by General Manager Billy Beane. The Oakland A's still made efforts to make the postseason after blowing a 0-2 lead in the ALDS against the Boston Red Sox in 2003. They were eliminated by the Anaheim Angels in 2004 on the day before the end of the season. In 2005, the A's once again finished behind the Angels for the West. But in 2006, they got the furthest than all the other seasons under Beane's practice of bargain hunting sabermetrics. The A's still had their last Moneyball ace Barry Zito and their Gold Glove winning third baseman Eric Chavez. They even added that old legend to their team, making this game the first and only time I would see the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas, in person. It was his first of 2 non-consecutive seasons with the A's after 16 seasons of service with the Chicago White Sox, where he won his ring in 2005, then left the Pale Hoses. Both the A's and Tigers were off to a good start despite this game being early in the season. The A's were tied for first with the Angels, and the Tigers were trying to keep pace with both the White Sox and the Indians, who were tied for first in the AL Central. The way this game went down, I'm sure if they played in a postseason series, it would be a good one. It would be another Tuesday night game at the Coliseum where I would find myself at the left field bleachers, my favorite place to take in an A's game during that roaring 2000s decade. The attendance was lower than a sold-out Sharks game, making getting a bleacher seat an hour before the first pitch a cinch. Starting pitcher for the A's, Esteban Loaiza. He was one of those pitchers that did okay. Won more games than he lost, bounced around from team to team in his 13-year career, played in a couple of All-Star games in 2003 and 2004. Loaiza played a season and a half with the A's before being placed on waivers and being claimed by the Dodgers in 2007. He was one of those veteran faces on the A's that was here one year, gone the next. Starting pitcher for the Tigers, an up-and-coming pitcher who may be in Cooperstown one day, Justin Verlander. Verlander made his debut with the Tigers on the 4th of July in 2005. Verlander would go on to play 12 and a half seasons with Detroit before being traded to the Houston Astros in 2017. In that time in the Motor City, Verlander won the Rookie of the Year in 2006, went to 6 All-Star games, had double-digit win seasons in every year except for 2015. 2011 would be his best season with the Tigers, 24 wins, won the AL MVP award, the Cy Young award, and the Triple Crown award, being the first pitcher since Johan Santana who accomplished the feat in 2006, huh? What a coincidence. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that he had another 20-plus win season in 2019 with the Astros, won the ALCS MVP in 2017, and finally got his World Series ring with the Stros that same year. In the top of the first inning, the Tigers would get started right out of the gate. Curtis Granderson led off the game with a triple to center. Placido Polanco would get a base hit to center to drive in Granderson, and have the Tigers take the early lead. After a scoreless bottom of the first and the Tigers were retired in order in the second, it was the A's turn in the bottom half. With one out, Milton Bradley drew a walk and in comes Nick Swisher. In 3 pitches or less, he hit a 2-run fence clearer and the A's took the lead. After a quiet third inning and Loaiza setting down the Tigers in order again in the 4th, the A's were looking to pad the lead. It would begin with the leadoff hit by Frank Thomas. Thomas was given a free base after a throwing error by Tiger shortstop Carlos Guillen. Bradley would walk again. With one out after Swisher struck out, Jay Payton would hit a grounder to first, which was sure to be an inning-ending double play. But once again, Guillen would botch the throw. Bradley would be forced out at second, but due to Guillen's errant throw, Thomas would trot home after being moved to third on the ground ball. The error by Guillen would give the A's a 2-run lead. In the 5th, both the Tigers and A's went down in order. The Tigers would get a rally going in the 6th inning. With one out, Granderson would strike again with the double to center. After Polanco flied out, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez would bring the Tigers closer with a double to deep right, driving in Granderson. Next up, Maglio Ordonez would single to right, and Pudge would come home to tie the ball game. Verlander set the A's down in order in the 6th to keep the game level. Sidearm hurler Justin Duchscherer would come in to relieve Loaiza in the top of the 7th and keep the Tigers off the board. Verlander would stay in the game and try to shut out the A's in the 7th. He didn't. Swisher led off the inning and in a 4-pitch at-bat would hit a solo blast to put the A's back on top. Duchscherer wouldn't have a problem shutting down the Tigers in the 8th, despite a walk given up to Pudge. Bobby Sawa would replace Verlander and kept Detroit in it with the 1-2-3 inning. Last chance for the Tigers in the top of the 9th, with the A's putting in their closer for a few seasons, Houston Street. Street would strike out 2 and get Carlos Guillen to ground out to end the game. From mid-June until the end of the season, the A's would hold the top spot in the AL West. It would be enough to win their 4th division in the 2000s. The team would finally achieve something that eluded them since Moneyball began, the ALCS for the first time since 1992. Instead of squandering another 0-2 series lead, they would actually finish a sweep against a team that ended their 2002 record-breaking season early, the Minnesota Twins. They would be facing the, well, shag me sideways, the Tigers? They won the AL wildcard after finishing a game out of first in the AL Central to the Twins. They beat the Yankees in 4 games, outscoring the Yanks 18-6 in their 3 wins after going down in the first game. Either way, one of these teams would be going to their first World Series in a very long time, and it wouldn't be the A's after the Tigers put an exclamation point in a dominating sweep. A sweep that would end with the Maglio Ordonez walk-off home run that would send the Tigers to their first World Series since 1984. The A's have not gotten back to that level since making this video. In fact, they wouldn't return to the postseason until 2012. In 2012, as well as 2013, they won back-to-back AL West divisions. Then they ran into that brick wall called the Tigers, who would incidentally go back to the World Series in 2012. I went to one more game in 2006 when the A's hosted the Dodgers, where I would see Barry Zito in an A's uniform for the very last time. Zito, the last of the 3 Moneyball aces, signed a lucrative deal with the Giants before the 2007 season began.
I got to see the beginning of the best season in the Moneyball era, as well as the beginning of a Hall of Fame pitcher's career, when I was there on April 18th, 2006.